How can there be peace? How can we achieve true peace? Do we need to get to Mars or some other planets as soon as possible so that we'll have enough land to avoid fighting over? Will that calm the die for my land mentality that every human has? Because that mentality fuels hatred and that leads to wars every time. We can see that throughout the human civilizations. So if going to Mars could possibly end all wars, it might be the better reason we support that Twitter guy to accelerate his Mars mission, because wars are not ending anytime soon. And if you want to argue that we have enough land here on Earth for every human for millions of years to come, and all we need is maybe a one-world government to set the rules so the land use is fair, and you think true peace could be achieved by then let's find out in our next path to finding true peace. One world government. Don't worry, you freedom lovers. So, do we need one world government to achieve true peace? One government to set all the rules, ensuring safety for all, as well as allowing individual to have a tiny piece of land or an apartment each, and not more or less, but equally throughout. You know, all those basic hammer and sickle dreams. That idea could happen in a country and could work well or not, depending on your personal perception of true peace and stability, but to implement that globally, you could face some obstacles like the usual suspects, the patriotic people, religious people, capitalists, millionaires, billionaires, landowners, and farmers. So, good luck with that in your one-world government journey to peace for anyone planning on taking that path. Now that you've asked, here are some hints and steps you could follow to establish a one-world government. First, plant in all the top schools your agents to slowly teach your ideology. Consider taking control of the banks and media. Introduce a global digital currency, then implement digital IDs for swift punishments and a social credit system. Acquire every farmland, create chaos in every free society by opening borders and allowing drugs and crime to rampage. Then depict on all your media outlets that these are caused by the wealthy, landowners, and the broken system. Hate will intensify over time, and the populace will rise up and eat the rich and demand reform. While all of this unfolds, you calmly establish a well-spoken, charismatic, and handsome leader in politics for the masses to genuinely admire. Because in today's world, possessing these qualities is often all a leader needs to gain undying support from the public. Let him promise equal opportunity for all, and once he's in power, take absolute control over the military and everything else. Okay, let's set aside the previous risky method. How about everyone's favorite? Teach love instead of hate. What if we were to teach and instill love in a generation rather than hate? Achieving that, however, would require invading and overthrowing the current governing body, which teaches the opposite and re-educating the populace. That is always the continuing struggle, because the civilians who lose loved ones in the process always come back for revenge, and that cycle many times continues forever. Hate always emerges one way or another. That is the current situation in many places right now. While this approach may seem easy and right, it's one of the hardest, and one must be cold-blooded to really achieve that. Why cold-blooded? Because it had happened once or twice before. The next path has the clue. What if the world were to agree and unite in an attempt to eliminate one side to extinction or near extinction? Or what if one side decided to use nuclear weapons to completely exterminate the other side? Would that bring about lasting peace, finally? Not really, because today, countries possess their own weapons and alliances. This would only draw everyone into the conflict. It could potentially lead to war of all wars that could end the civilization as we know it. So that's a bad path to pursue. And if you ever find yourself entertaining such thoughts, perhaps due to something you saw online, it's important you scratch that out your mind and seek help. What about diplomacy, negotiation, peace agreements, and all those bullshits? Those seem to never work, because those deals are made by few, and new assets always come along and change or not uphold the previous ones. They are just temporary fixes. I know you want this. What if we were to get rid of all religions? First of all, that would never happen, but if it did, it would plunge the whole world back into the Stone Age. Why? Because most of the poor in underprivileged countries are not eating each other alive due to their strong moral beliefs in line with their religions, which keep them humble and sane. Yes, religions can bring about violence, but it's when they coexist side by side with one another that causes friction. If there was only one religion, there wouldn't be any wars, and society would be genuinely clean and peaceful. However, it's unimaginable what one would need to do to achieve a one-religion world. It has been attempted repeatedly, but it has resulted in nothing but climate-impacting deaths. So, the world required and requires religion to function stably, but having many is the issue. That's a tough one. I don't have a solution for that, but if I can offer a suggestion, it would be to begin by enacting laws that limit religious debates in public spaces, on television, and on social media. I understand that society needs to be free to express itself, but these "my God is better than your God" debates are not leading people anywhere and only fuel hatred. Over time, things tend to become violent. On the other hand, if you think religion is bad and you think we should remove it as a whole, see what happens when it begins to fade in a society. A whole lot of depression, mental illness, divisive tribal groups, moral decline, and sexual perversion will start to flourish. How about AI? Will AI finally solve world peace? Many smart people strongly believe that. They believe it can work through things like conflict prediction and prevention. AI can analyze large volumes of data, including social media, news reports, and historical conflict data, to identify potential conflict hotspots and provide early warnings. Cybersecurity, natural disaster prediction, and eventually erasing poverty, all of which could lead to peace and stability. However, that's a lot of crap. Countries will be at each other's throat with a power like that. It's just another weapon for a country if true AI or quantum computing are achieved. In fact, it's the ultimate weapon for war-hungry countries. Finally, what if aliens visit or reveal themselves to us? Would that change everything, altering our perspectives on life and the universe? It's like when Americans discover the outside world. I made a funny. Imagine dropping everything we believe in within seconds. It may seem impossible, but seeing is believing, and seeing aliens would rewire our brains in an instant. This might unite us in a way, as we see ourselves as the very low intelligent beings compared to them. It might cause us to work hard and together to defeat or catch up with the outside force. It's like the strategy governments use. When there's an internal conflict, create an outside one to unite everyone. We might finally unite as one if the aliens pose threats or are showing off with their technologies. Or if they are nice, they might teach us everything and turn us into gods, and fighting won't make sense anymore. That leaves us with the first and the last paths having the greater chances of finding true peace. It's either we go find land and life outside this planet, or we wait for some beings to find us. Because since the first two humans coming out of Africa, we still haven't figured out peace here on this planet.